What's going on, Shadow Corner family? It's your friendly neighborhood Fluffy Ninja here, live from unknown beknownst location. No, I'm just playing. I'm actually just getting my oil change. Didn't have time to make it back to the office, so we improvise. I am your host. If you're new to the show, my name is Cyan. I am a Shadow Life Coach and also a two-time best-selling author, uh, doula, fluffy ninja, whichever one you want to call me. Either way, I'm one of these happy-go-lucky people that love to talk about everything is important as mental health, how you carry yourself, and etc. I'm here today and this lovely Tuesday afternoon in the South. It's about 93 degrees, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I would like some more AC, but hey, we do what we can. Um, Today, I am here to talk to you about leadership. Now, when we think of the word leadership, what are the things that usually come to mind? Is it wondering whether or not that you're actually leading people to where they just follow you, or you're expanding a culture that requires everyone to not only be themselves but understand that they are part of something bigger than themselves? Well, our guest today is going to actually talk about that in a nutshell. So let me give him his dues, his introductions. So let me get out of that organization. Organization. So today's guest is Todd A. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna say K, like mess up people's author, TEDx speaker, keynote presenter, and a business growth strategist with more than 30 years of leadership experience across multiple industries. Todd is the owner of the Cleaning Authority, Fishers, where he successfully grew a business from 1.8 million to over 4 million in revenue while building a workplace culture centered on people, performance, and a long-term success. His leadership has earned multiple industry recognitions, including Franchise of the Year honors, a certified public accountant, and a MBA. Todd has founded and scaled his business, managing billions in assets, helped launch a major banking division that grew 14 billion in assets, and led an organization ranging from startups to global. Today, as the founder of Silver Sun Consulting, Todd helps home service business owners overcome growth challenges by combining strong leadership, effective systems, positive workplace culture, and his mission is to simply but simple and powerful. When businesses create environments where employees thrive, companies grow faster, become more profitable, and create a lasting impact in their communities. Please join me to bring to our lovely stage the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Todd. How are you, good sir? Let's give you a round of applause. How are we doing today?
Oh, thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for having me on your show. It's such an honor.
Yeah, we always try to bring people that are trying to make either some type of impact or change into the world. So, um, for our listeners meeting you for the first time, what inspired you the journey into business leadership and entrepreneurship?
It honestly wasn't my first choice. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Parents owned a trucking business. Basically, they hauled milk from the farms to the dairies. So we grew up in and around the business world, but my interest was always science. So I really went to the university thinking I'm going to get a physics degree. I didn't realize that what I probably should have signed up was more for engineering because I really like touching and feeling things. And physics is very mathematical. It hasn't been really a science that you touch and feel things in a long time. Well,
Okay, so oh, go ahead. Sorry.
it didn't go so well. So I ended up changing my major a few times and I ended up back in the business school. And that, in a roundabout way, I circled back to where my roots came from. And then I've always been in the business world ever since.
Okay, so you worked in banking, you have working in banking, fund administration, consulting, franchise ownership. What's the common thread that connects all of these experiences to where we're talking about make a culture like a competitive, a safe environment for employees to want to be in?
It really goes back to my upbringing. I watched my father and how he took care of the farms that he serviced. If they didn't meet certain cleanliness standards and pass inspection, they couldn't ship their milk to the dairy and they'd be shut down. So he simply went above and beyond. He took care of them. If he saw something that needed cleaning, he cleaned it, he fixed it. We'd go over during snowstorms, help them shovel snow off the roofs of their sheds so they wouldn't collapse. And I just carried that whole ethic into the workplace and always took care of the people around me and people who worked for me. When it was in alignment with the values of the organization, things went great for me. When we were a little
Okay.
bit at odds, it didn't.
Okay, was there any defining moment that when you realized leadership was about the people rather than just profit, or was it just you just building the culture in general
It
based off of
really,
like your upbringing?
that was there all along. Where things started to come into focus for me, and I realized what I was doing was after March of 2020, when my position ended with Alter Domus, I bought the cleaning authority and I walked into something which had a toxic environment. I just knew it had to be changed. So I changed the culture, but people kept asking, why are you doing that? What is going on? So I had to actually put that into words. And it was all about when we care about the people and we see them as a complete human being, we get something completely different from them. They stop being people who just go to work and, oh, I'm living for Friday and my paycheck. And suddenly they care about the work and the quality of their work is just so much higher. It's a real competitive advantage in the world we live in. Everybody can use the same tools and technology. The only limits there are how big is your budget. But when you get your people to bring their heart and really care about the work they do and the quality they deliver, suddenly some pretty amazing things happen. You keep your people longer, you have less hiring costs, training costs, fewer mistakes because they're more experienced. You're you're not constantly going through that learning curve with new employees. All your operating expenses started going down. They show the customers and clients you have how much they care. Customers and clients start raving about the work you do. They stay. So when you're adding customers and clients, you're not replacing people you lost. Now your revenues are shooting up and growing faster. And then the customers and clients do one other thing. They give you free advertising. They give you all these Google reviews and references that bring other people to you. So your revenues shoot up as your operating expenses drop. There's real math behind it. And it's always for me difficult to understand why somebody wouldn't want to tap into the human side of their organization.
Okay, so with 30 years of experience behind you and in front of you, well, and more experience becoming in front of you, what lessons have what have been the biggest lessons that you have had to learn or made the biggest impact on you for who you are today? I know you talked about how your father delivered milk and everything, and you said during the conversation when we first met that that was something that taught you uh, it taught you how to treat people and it taught you how to say hardworking, correct?
It, I learned the work ethic,
Mm-hmm.
getting in there, rolling up the sleeves. I was never ever felt comfortable sitting so-called behind the big desk and barking orders. That was never me. I was always one to get involved. So there's the work ethic. There's the seeing the people as a complete person. And that's really what you get when you hire somebody. You get the whole package. Any organization that thinks you can tell people to leave their personal side at the door when they come to work, they're making a huge mistake. I learned that when you give people the space to solve problems, and problems happen in everybody's life, what you get back from them in return is commitment and loyalty and better quality work. It more than pays for itself if you're worried about your bottom line as a business owner. But along the way, I had to unlearn some things too. I had some trust issues. So trusting people to do things without micromanaging them was not the easiest to let go at first. And that's something that you have to do if you want people to grow and your organization to grow. You have to pick things up from your desk and give it to them. Let them do it. They're going to do it in a way that might not be exactly your way, but that doesn't make it wrong or bad. Oftentimes they do it better than you as a leader can do it. That's definitely been my experience. That they come up with better ideas. They actually perform many of these tasks better than I'm capable of doing it. It's
Okay,
trust.
so trust is the main guiding factor of any business, correct?
It starts with trust.
Okay.
That gives you the ability to let go of things and hand them to somebody else so that they can do it. Then when they do it, they grow and they become better leaders and themselves. And they start to, through their own work and their contributions, they make the organization grow.
Okay, so since we're talking about the organ, I right into like workplace culture and leadership. I ask this because it's like the question I want to ask you is like, what are some signs workplace culture is unhealthy, even if the company appears successful on the surface? Because I know for like me personally, being in the medical field, there are some doctors that are just like cool, copacetic, and they don't mind working with their employees. But then there's the other side where there's certain employees that just don't mesh well, and they're just here for the paycheck, and they've been here so long that they probably feel like they've gotten so comfortable that anything slick can come out their mouth, and then it just doesn't work. And then leadership could have the same notion where you could get replaced tomorrow and it wouldn't even matter. So what are some signs that workplace culture is unhealthy? And even if it appears on the outside, what are some ways to help anybody to depict that before they even sign on a dotted line?
Unhealthy organizations will show in a number of ways. High turnover is one big red flag. Why aren't people staying? Why why is there such quick turnover and so much of it? Because I've been inside an organization where some departments had 100% turnover every single year. It, it's hard to believe the amount of brain power they were burning through simply by the turnover.
Okay.
Organizations that demand that people work long hours all the time. There's forever, get it done, get it done, get it done. Every organization goes through those busy periods. But if that busy period is all the time, they're burning out people, which leads to the turnover. Other things are, do they value the input from the people they hire? People are smart. They can offer a lot of ideas, a lot of suggestions. Are they willing to take those ideas and suggestions, listen to them, and even implement them? If they're not doing some of these basic things, those are huge red flags. And you might want to really dig deeper. So you say, well, how could I do that? Talking to some of the people who have left, they will tell you what it's really like to be there. We have many ways to connect with those people because so many people are on social media. For example, LinkedIn is very business focused. And people are willing to talk if you just ask them for a few minutes or what their thoughts and comments might be about a previous place that they worked. They will give it to you pretty straight.
I
There's
agree with that because they gave us an extra interview the job when I worked at the hospital, and they asked us, they was like, so what's it like actually working for this such a place? And I told them, I was like, it's toxic. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. It's a buddy friends club. And they were like, oh my God, you're not the only one that said that. And I'm like, then why aren't you putting an investigation out? Like, that should be one of those things that you need to actually do. But I apologize. I feel like I've cut you off.
no, you didn't at all. But those are the things that will really tell you what the experience is like if you're looking at a company. Don't forget to use the interview to ask good questions. Forget about all of that standard stuff that people give us to ask. Just really ask what's on your mind. Ask what it's like. Ask them to describe a daily life. But really dig into it a little bit and listen to the answers. Remember that the recruiter is also a salesperson for the organization. So you do have to read between the lines and look for the message behind the words.
Okay, so I know you talk often about like creating a workplace where like employees thrive. So what does that actually look like in your practice? Like, how, I know you say ask good questions, make sure that you get all your like ducks in a row as far as knowing what you're walking into. But like, what does that actually look like?
Let me describe the cleaning company workplace now that we eliminated the toxicity and transformed it. The people who work for me come from 14 different countries. So immediately I knew that their history, their heritage, their culture was important to them. So we put up flags in the entranceway for every country represented by somebody on staff. We immediately showed that we care about their culture, where they come from. But we did something else that was very transformational. The world around us, if you look at the signs, almost every sign says no, don't, and these are the consequences. So I stopped my managers. I said, time out. Don't do that. Stop saying no. Stop saying don't. Tell them what our customers ask for. Tell them what we want them to do and show them what the rewards are when they do that. So we took down all of those signs that said no and don't. And if you do this, look out. The following bad things are going to happen to you. And we put up positive signs. I said, here's the bonuses for when our customers tell us you did a good job. Here are the bonuses for when our customers go on Google and give us a great review. You get these bonuses on your next paycheck. You don't have to wait till the end of the month or the end of the quarter. We're not going to forget. It comes on Friday on your paycheck. These are cleaners. They're not high income people. They tend to live paycheck to paycheck. But when they can earn an extra $100, $150 a week in bonuses, and their normal paycheck might be between $500 and $700 or maybe $800, that's life-changing money. That really gets everybody's attention. So it took about
So
6 weeks. We went through that skeptical period to get there. Once
Okay,
the
so
first couple of
why?
teams started getting bonuses, everyone wanted them.
Okay, so why do you think that so many businesses struggle with employee retention today? Because I know that as of right now, we're standing at a precipice where second nature. We have pay being either or being not as much as that we're told when they first got hired, or even, I don't know, leadership that says that they are here for you, but it ends up being the opposite later. So uh why do you think so many businesses struggle?
Well, businesses are struggling because there's a gap between we care for you and what they actually do for the employees. The employees get this message in reviews, they get it every single day that it's expensive to have employees. We need you to do more work. They get tiny little raises. They wonder if they're even valued. When you get 1 or 2% raise and your company tells you did such a great job, you're not even keeping up with inflation. So there's a huge gap there.
Oh, okay. I think I pressed. Yeah. Okay. So how can what's the difference between managing people and then truly leading them? And we love to say that we manage over that, it seems like a high duty, not stewarding well with others makes it seem as if that we don't, not that you don't care, but basically what's the difference between the two, between leading, truly leading someone, or managing people? Because it sounds negative just by just the question.
It does. Management in our world tends to be telling people what to do, telling people how to do it, checking and double checking the results. When something's missing or something's wrong, letting them know that all about it. And it takes on a somewhat negative image because it's become that. That's expected many times by the people at the top of the organization. Now, when you're leading somebody, you're showing them the direction that we want to go. You're giving them the tools, the ability, the knowledge, guiding them in that direction, but they are actually figuring out how to do the work. They are actually producing the results. And it's less about checking and double checking and telling them do step one, step two, step three, then give it to me to review. We're holding space. We're creating the space for them to actually figure out how to reach the goal. There's a huge difference there. It's people step up and become something completely different when they're led than when they're managed.
Okay, so what are the biggest mistakes you see like business owners making when trying to scale their business or just getting started, especially within building the culture? Because I know that for some people in business, from what I've had personally experienced, and well, at least with other entrepreneurs that I know, when they start the business, they want to bring their friends in. They want to bring in people that they know that they can trust. But then at the same time, sometimes they take advantage of that type of leadway, which in turn changes the environment. how can you tell early on when that type of stuff happens? It doesn't even have to be friends. It could be a person that put on a mask first until they got the job and then they just took the mask off. How do you determine if um they're still worthy to not worthy, but uh if they're worth the sacrifice of them to stay there?
Well, I can take that in order if you'd like.
Mhm.
You said because we started with what are some of the mistakes, and then some of the
Mhm.
mistakes lead into who we hire too.
Yes.
When your name's on the door, when you're creating that, it's your baby. So you really watch it carefully, and you're initially you're making all the decisions. As you grow, eventually what you're trying to hold in your arms gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you can't get your arms around it anymore, things start to fall through the cracks. Phone calls don't get returned, emails aren't answered, orders aren't placed. But there's a tendency to, because of having our name on the door, we live in a world where we all know the saying, if you want it done right, do it yourself.
Mhm.
It's my way or the highway. There's a lot of that type of thinking that goes on with business owners, whether they realize it or not. It's difficult to give work to somebody else, and if it's not done your way, it's oftentimes hard to say, well, it was done well. We need to measure it more objectively. Was it a good result for the business? And stop measuring it, was it done the way I want it to do, the way I would do it? So then when you start the business, you go to the people you know for advice. Those are your friends. Those are your people you've worked with. And oftentimes, those are the people who go, "Yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you." Or the people that you ask to help you. So you start to bring them in. The people that you've worked with at the beginning are not always the people who will get you to the next level. They don't have all the answers. If the business owner doesn't actually look beyond their circle of friends and associates for other answers, other solutions, how to get to the next level, they're going to have a business that is just trapped by how big their little circle of friends and associates is. It has a
Okay.
negative effect on other employees that you bring in from the outside. If friends and family are at the top, but nobody else can rise up in the organization.
I can understand how that could be a very bad inconvenience. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure I can say this right. Many entrepreneurs feel stuck working in their business instead of on their business. How can they begin making that shift? I know there's a different mindset that comes with when you have a business, and then there's a mindset that comes where it's like the business runs itself to where you can finally take your hands off. And I know that for you, you said that you had trust issues when in the beginning when it's like your baby got a little bigger, and then at that point you had to hand stuff off your desk and say, here, I can't take this, but I can give it to you and trust you to get it done. So what were some steps for you that helped you begin that mind shift?
I, Let me give you a few steps. And wow, is that a pertinent question? Because just this morning I was talking to one of the clients who's having exactly that problem. I started small. I started with simple routine things that took a lot of time, but were easy to just say, if you do these couple of steps, then that'll complete the task. Please take care of it. All of the processing a certain type of email or processing a certain form. If I can pick that one thing up off of my desk and I can give it to somebody, it frees up the space, it frees up the brain power for other things. So what happened is the person did it well. I went, wow, was that nice? It felt so good to not have to do that. So I look around at my desk and go, oh, here's something else. It's repetitive. You can do that too. After I did that 2, 3 times, and the feeling of relief was just so wonderful, then I started going, oh, by the way, you can have this and this and this and this too.
Okay, so go ahead. I apologize.
But just do it in baby steps. Start small with something simple, and then add the next task.
And it just becomes greater. It becomes a lot more freeing after that. So, is there
Oh,
any
yeah.
like mental things that they don't have to actually? What mental shifts would they have to? Like, what are things that they have to let go in order to be able to give it to somebody else? Because, like you said, it's their baby. It's something that they've been striving for and wishing and hoping to grow. And then now it's growing, they can hand it off to somebody else. But then at the same time, it's like, it's not that easy just to hand it over. So,
Also, at first, most of us will manage the task that we hand over. We stop doing the task, but we're still reviewing it. And then
okay.
at some point, we realize, you know what? It's been done well. It's even been done better than I can do it every time I checked it. So maybe I'm not going to check every time. Maybe I'll check every once in a while and just make sure things are still good. And then after a while, you start to just say, why am I bothering? I know he or she has it and does it super well every single time.
Okay. So what systems and habits separate from sustainable growth from short-term success? Because I know it's like, it's good to be able to have that growth, but when you start to drift away from like the core issue of why you made the company, why you decided to grow the company, or even your why, how do you sustain the growth and still keep that mindset?
This mindset, one more time, please, on the mindset.
Okay, so
It,
you've
it
think
broke up slightly. So which mindset are we talking about?
okay, so what systems and habits separate a sustainable growth mindset from short-term success? Because like we talked about with this,
Okay.
your mindset has to change in order for you to be able to delegate to give people what you need. So what systems and habits can help you sustain it once that has happened? Because then you don't want to be like after a while where it's like you're giving everything to everybody and then you don't have nothing to do, and then you start to lose your why you made the company, why you even decided that it should exist. So how do we sustain it and then at the same time keep our why?
Well, that's a good starting point there. Is what is our why? Some people want to create a job for themselves and they're okay with staying small. Other people want to run a sizable business. By getting themselves out of the day to day, they can think up here strategically. What direction does the business need to go? What future changes are coming in our industry that we need to adapt to? Are there better tools that we can use to get our work done? So while they're up here looking strategically, they have the people that they've hired who are making sure that the delivery of the day-to-day services and goods that they promise to their customers are happening. They have people who are taking care of everything from payroll to hiring, advertising, marketing. It's you still have plenty to do when you're thinking strategically about what the business is. Here's an important point when you go from being inside the business to up here being outside of the business. Because when you're up here strategically, you're not inside the day to day. Now you have a business that runs without you having to make every decision. Your business is an asset in your portfolio. If a day comes and you decide to sell it, you can do that because the business can run on a day-to-day basis without you. The business has value. But if you're inside the business, oftentimes you are the business. If you stop getting up every day, if you stop doing what you do, there will be no business. You don't have an asset that you can sell at some time in the future because you can't sell yourself.
That hits home because I know that helps me understand my why when I make Shadow Corner the podcast and then Shadow Corner life coaching. Because my why was to make sure that the people that want a better life and want to walk this world better, they have the opportunity to do so. But the sole determining factor is themselves. How far will they let themselves go so that way they can become a healthier self or have healthier communication skills? So when I think about when we talk about making culture your competitive advantage, it's allowing us to provide a community and a culture that gives us the opportunity for every person to grow, not just leadership and not just employees, but every person, down to the person that cleans the floors, all the way to the person that like wipes the windows, or and vice versa. So, since at Shadow Corner we do talk about self awareness and growth a lot. So, how important is self awareness in leadership?
Incredibly important. Where it becomes most valuable is knowing what you know and knowing what you don't. There's no shame in not knowing something. There's just an incredible amount of information in the world around us. We can't know everything. And when we are aware, self-aware of our limits, then we know when to ask for help. Nobody in the world around us gets to any high level position without huge amounts of help along the way. People open doors for them so that they could get jobs. People open doors for them so they could get sell products and sell services. People introduced them to other companies so they could get the tools that they needed to run their business. If you think that these people at the top are self-made and did it by themselves, it's a myth. Nobody gets very far in this world all by themselves, even though our culture idolizes this strong individual who solves every problem. That's not the way the world works.
So what how can, well, you already said that one way is to understand that you don't get to the top by yourself. Collaboration is necessary, not an option. So what's another self-awareness in leadership that they should exercise? Because I think that one also means being able to learn from your failures. Like there have been multiple times where I've sat there and I was like, okay, some people would think failure is literally the end all be all. For me personally, it was just like me walking around. That's why I consider myself like a walking whiteboard, because I allow myself to look at all every screw up and say, okay, so what part in this situation could I have done better? What could I have said better? What could I have like approached better? And it's like, I know as a leader, I would have to make sure that I instill that in anybody that I give the delegation to. So I would want them to have the same mindset. So, what's another way that we can be self aware in leadership that aids in the company just as well as aiding in ourselves?
Or you hit on some big ones right there. Just being aware of how what we say and do lands with the people around us. And if it doesn't land well, correcting the message, if we really, really made a mistake, apologize. I can't tell you how incredibly valuable it is to be able to simply say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The amount of respect that you get for being able to just say, I made a mistake, I was wrong, you were right, or I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that, is enormous. But it takes self-awareness and a willingness to be vulnerable. People are attracted to that. People respect that. That's one of the biggest things that a leader can do.
I know throughout all this, even teaching leadership and doing all that you do, I know you experience burnout every now and then. So have you ever experienced burnout, or what did it teach you about leadership and life in general?
Oh, I wrestle with burnout on a regular basis.
It's
And my body will let me know pretty quickly.
a hey, we kind of do it a little too much.
I would just say to all the young bucks out there who think that they can work 12 or 15 hours at the office day after day and have a social life and everything else, it catches up with you. And once it starts catching up with you, it comes back quicker the next time and the next time and the next time. Usually I was overcommitting myself. I was overpromising. I was imagining that I was capable of more than I really was. So I was trying to do it all. That's when I had to step back and go, okay, I need help. I need to give something to somebody. I need to realign priorities. I need to readjust the schedule and go back to a few people and say, well, I know we said Tuesday. Would it be okay if it was Thursday or even next week? Here's what's happening.
Just simple, because like moving stuff around makes it a lot easier. And I can say this, and I have friends that can tell you that I'm like air. They can try to catch me, but it's like I slip through their fingers, not because I want to, but because the way my life is set up. Sometimes my plate is like little bit heavier than most, so it's like now I'm learning how to know like what I can do, what are my limits that I can personally as a leader be able to do for anybody else's personal gain than anything else. So it's literally me putting myself first in all things. So um go ahead.
You said it right. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be there to take care of anybody around you. So self-care and self-preservation are not selfish. It actually enables you to be there for your team, for your employees, for your customers, family, and friends.
Okay, so what role does like emotional intelligence play in building a successful team? So, because I know that, like I said, the leaders just half the battle. Now you have to get to the real meat and gritty, which is the employees. So, what emotional intelligence does have to play when it comes to building a successful teams?
Well, it's very important, but don't make it more complicated than it really is. Throw out those books that have all of this jargon and just think about what emotional intelligence is. It's being aware. We used that word a few minutes ago. Being aware of how what you say and do is landing with your customers, with your employees. And knowing that not everybody hears it the same way, not everybody sees it the same way. Sometimes we need to explain it multiple times. Sometimes we need to show them. Sometimes we have to change the words that we use. sometimes we need to say, oops, shouldn't have said it that way. That was insensitive. I apologize. Start over. That's emotional intelligence. It's seeing the real person in front of you, how they're reacting, and being able to adjust accordingly.
Okay, so what kind of legacy do you hope to leave through your work? Because I know it's like you're not done yet, but like down the line, like let's say 30 years from now, what legacy would you like to leave? Not just for the people that helped you cultivate this, but like what legacy would you like to leave to like your children or to the community about what it truly means to have a positive leadership culture?
I would like to be like this a level of impact on people around me that some of the people I've met in the past made with me. There's been some great partners at firms I've worked with in the past who I will always remember, and their words of wisdom, they're taking time out of their busy schedule to have a real conversation with me. They're giving me the chance to do what I'm capable of doing. They didn't just tell me, follow these steps and repeat over and over again, but they actually gave me a voice and an opportunity to make a contribution to the organization. I was young when some of this happened. I was 25, and there were people who were 55 and 60 sitting in the room who wanted to hear what I had to say. And oh my God, what an amazing experience. And then afterward, I was actually able to help the organization and make a difference. It's just such a great feeling. Well, now the roles are reversed. If I could like to be that person for others around me, that would be a good legacy.
That sounds great. Okay, so we got two more questions and then I shall set you free upon the masses so you can enjoy your wonderful day. What's one book every entrepreneur should have in their arsenal? Because I know for some I've seen where it's like the book of war, the book of war, and then there's the art of seduction. There is what is it? I know there's a lot of people that have to add Dawn Staley's book to their arsenal. So, like, what is a book that is an absolute no going forward without it for you?
Randy Commissar's The Monk and the Riddle.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's pretty amazing. It talks about the two approaches to life. Approach one is I'm going to do what I have to today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do what I want to. And he goes through all the reasons why that doesn't work. Because there's no guarantees that tomorrow will get here. There's no guarantees that when we get to tomorrow that we'll still have the health or the money that we need to do all these things that we thought we wanted to do. And sometimes people, after working 30 or 40 years, they can't remember what it was that they were so excited about and wanted to do tomorrow. They forget. And he says, or the other path. Be on this path where you are enjoying what you do. And there's passion in what you do. Because it stops feeling like work. And he wasn't the one who originally said things like that. Other people have said that. But enjoy what you're doing. And suddenly it won't feel like work and you won't be waiting for tomorrow. But he tells it in such an interesting way. And he starts with a story of riding a motorcycle through the desert and giving a monk a ride up to the monastery. And then the abbot talks with him for a while and leaves him with this riddle and says, if I had an egg and I want to drop it 3 feet without breaking it, how would I do that? And he goes through his whole story as a Silicon Valley entrepreneur and helping other people build and grow their businesses. And he gets to the end, he circles back to the story when he was young and he was in the desert riding the motorcycle. And he says, I got to town and the sun was setting and the colors were orange and red and they were vibrant on the walls of the buildings. And I was going through the city streets and I didn't want to stop. And suddenly I knew the answer to the riddle. He says, when you're doing what you enjoy doing, you don't want to stop.
I
Keep
love that.
going, extend the trip. So how do you drop the egg without breaking it at 3 feet? Extend the trip, keep it going, enjoy what you're doing. But he talks very specifically about a lot of things. It's not a very long book. It's a very easy, fast read.
Okay, so I know I said 2, but it's actually 3. The second question I would say is, what's the best piece of advice you ever received as an entrepreneur, like as you were growing and getting your business off the ground?
Oh my gosh. First of all, some of the best advice I got was, no matter where you are in life, do whatever you do as if you are the owner and you care about the quality that it's being delivered. So if you are actually the owner, then you're going to want to set up your organization, your business in a way that it delivers the quality that you want to. And that comes through your relationship with the people who work for you. So go back to thinking about how an owner would want the work done and build that type of organization where the people around you care at that level.
I love that. I love that because you it's all about, and in between this, it's literally all about impact at the end of the day. Because as much as we say we want to leave a legacy behind, forget about the impact that legacy creates for not only you but for other people. So, my last question for you before I let you go, my guests when they go on Shadow Corner, if you could say something to either your 10, 20, 30, however old self, no matter how far back, forward or back, one piece of advice, what would you tell them?
Gosh, just don't be afraid to take chances and try things.
Okay.
Amazing things come from really being willing to try new things, being willing to step out of your comfort zone.
I love that. Because there no risk, no reward, right?
Yeah, it really works that way. In a lot of ways, you're either moving forward or you're moving backward because there's no standing still in a world that's constantly changing.
Okay. So many of our listeners are on their own journey of personal and professional growth. You've already given us a invite, like of your rules here. So where can they find you if they want to actually work with you and they want to get started in creating their own healthy culture?
Go to www.silversunconsulting.com. Sun is SUN. Feel free to peruse the media page and the blogs and everything. But on the About page, you'll find my personal email address along with my bio, and you're going to find a phone number. That phone number rings right here. Call me. I like talking to people. I like helping people. I want to talk to you.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you, Mr. Todd, for coming on the show and allowing us your time and all of these things and giving us the wisdom that we need to get through the day, to get through anything in our lives. And we appreciate you giving us your time and all. So first off, before we do anything, let's clap you up a little bit. Love if you have any final words for us before you leave.
Oh my God. Thank you, Sally, for having me on your show. And to all of you out there, go have some fun while you grow your business.
Amen to that. We will see you soon, Mr. Todd. You will not be, this will not be the last time you're on our show.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, good people. So as you can tell by Mr. Todd, he created a culture not only looks at employees as human beings, but he also made sure that each person individually, big or small, had made an impact in the company that not only benefit the company, but it also allowed the culture to blossom healthy, untoxic, unapologetic, and be able to thrive in a natural environment. Sometimes we don't realize what type of environment or things that we're in until we actually leave it. Our nervous system resets, and then becomes more of a finding yourself moment after that. So I encourage you in everything that you're going through today, whether it be like trying to figure out if you should leave a job or how to change a job or see if you can find some start building your job and you're building a community that you want to be a part of. I ask that you start with leadership first and become self-aware of everything that's around you as well as everything that pertains to you. Learn to delegate so that way you don't have to go to that giant leap of burnout, because right now in this state all of us have a chronic sense of burnout, and it is getting out of hand because we've known that this hustle type culture, there's nothing wrong with hustling, but it is wrong when it sacrifices you and all the things that you personally love the most. So I encourage you to look at your whole business, look at your life, if anything, and to make sure that you are analyzing it just as well as like you analyze people that come in your life, you analyze how you come and present yourself in your life, because you never know. There you could be watched by other people that actually look at your life and admire it. And by you being the example of how what a healthy life looks like, a healthy business life, it gives people hope that they can actually strive for it too. And if you're having difficulties, give Todd a call. He, like he said, his phone number is not is just he is just a phone call away. So I hope everybody enjoyed their day today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you soon. Bye for now.